What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So I did a video, what was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday, talked about, just in my opinion, I think scoring is getting out of hand. All of the rule changes have made it just, it's just too easy at this point for offensive players to score. I mean, it's not a knock on these guys. They're supposed to be doing this. They made all these changes so these guys can do it. But from a competitive balance standpoint, from a guy that likes defense, it's boring to me. I know that sounds crazy to people because they like scoring, but for a guy like me that likes rebounding and post play and shot blocking and watching a great defender shut someone down on a possession, this shit is boring to me. I grew up watching 90s basketball. Maybe I know I'm in the minority, but it's actually boring to me to watch a dude put up a 50 piece, just yakking up 13 threes and getting some favorable calls from the officials. Whatever. It's sort of like, it's getting to a point where the 50-point game, which used to be something that was marveled, is being cheapened, like the home run in Major League Baseball. But anyway, I also want to make one little small point. I saw some joker in the comment section of Player Choice say, "Oh, what's next? What are you trying to say? John Paxson scored 29 in the game in today's era? Get the fuck out of here." Start naming some role players from the 90s and stuff. First of all, John Paxson averaged, at his best, probably 11 points and 5 assists for the Bulls. That might have been his best numbers. In today's league, he probably averaged about the same. 11, and I don't even know if he averaged 5 assists because I don't think he'd have the ball in his hands because I think he'd probably just be more of a spot-up shooter. He'd probably average just about the same. John Paxson was not he was not a traditional point guard. He was not a guy that was John Stockton, nor was he a great one-on-one player like a Kyrie Irving. Come on, let's be realistic. John Paxson, his job with the Bulls was to bring the ball up and give it to Michael Jordan or occasionally Scottie Pippen and get the hell out of the way and be available to knock down an open three or open shot on cue. That was pretty much his role in the offense. In today's league, he probably just hang around the three-point line a little bit more. But come on, like if you're going to try to nitpick with a John Paxson, I don't understand certain things with some people. Like, they're backwards. You point out white boys to try to denigrate an era, but then you got all these motherfuckers sucking the cocks of Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic. It just don't make any sense to me. But anyway, just want to do a video right quick to just illustrate my point about how scoring is so inflated to the point where on the surface these numbers are very impressive, but when you do a little bit deeper analysis, my point has been proven that these scoring feats are not as impressive as you think they are, proportionately. Luka Doncic, what is he averaging this year? 34.3 points per game, right? And one of the narratives that you see is that he needs help. All right? He needs help, and, he needs more help offensively. He can't do it by himself. And look, when I look at him, 34.3 points per game, that is very impressive. But the team as a whole, 22 and 16, all right? That's not great. It's not spectacular either. Let's see. Luka has 3 teammates in double figures. Spencer Dinwiddie, 16.1 points per game. Christian Wood, 17.8 points per game, going along with 7.9 rebounds. And Tim Hardaway Jr., 13.8 points per game. So that's 3 teammates. 3 in double figures. Luka is responsible this year so far for shouldering 28.1% of the team's offense. That is a heavy burden. 28.1% of the team's total offense this year. Incredible. 28.1%. That's historic, right? Now, you think, right? Let's go to 1997-98. Michael Jordan. The Bulls went 62-20 that year, right? Now, that wasn't the best record of the second three-peat, but still, they won 62 games. Despite the fact Scottie Pippen missed 38 games due to the foot injury, right? Now, Jordan, he also only had 3 teammates averaging double figures. Pippen, 19.1 points per game in the games that he played. Tony Kukoc, 13.3 points per game. And the other one, Luke Longley, 11.4 points per game, even though he only played 58 games himself. I think he had like a toe injury or something, if I remember correctly. I think he hurt his toe or his foot or something. But I don't remember the media crying about him, Jordan needing all this help, and he needs another guy while Pippen is out, or they need to make these moves. I don't remember the media playing general manager. I remember them analyzing the game and talking about what these teams are going through. I don't remember the media also being amateur scouts and all of these things, right? As far as what these teams need to do to win versus another team. They weren't doing that back then. Also, look, Michael Jordan that year was shouldering nearly 30% of the Bulls' offense. 30%. Now, he was only averaging 28.7 compared to 34.3, but the Bulls were only averaging, as a team, 96.7. So proportionally, Jordan was doing more offensively for the Bulls in 98 than Luka Doncic is this year. This year that they tell you is historic. Don't believe all this shit you see in the media. Like I said before, there have been more impressive offensive seasons. What Kobe Bryant did in 2005, 2006 was truly historic. Truly historic. Without Kobe Bryant that year, that team would have done nothing. If I'm not mistaken, Kobe shouldered nearly 35% of that team's offense that year. One player out of usually 15 guys, and one guy, 1/15th of the team, he was responsible for 35% of their scoring that year. Without Kobe Bryant that year, I don't think the Lakers would have won 20 games. But he was able to lead them to 45 victories, and the fact that they were up 3-1 against a team that had the reigning MVP in Steve Nash says a lot about the greatness of Kobe Bryant. So I just had to bring up 2 guys that the media love to downplay now, especially Kobe Bryant. And Yes, Michael Jordan, in one of his worst seasons as a Bull, still was responsible for more of the offense and shouldering more of the burden than Luka Doncic in the season that, oh man, he's just doing more than anybody we've ever seen. Nah, not really. Even the way that Luka's scoring isn't as draining as Michael was that year. That year, Michael hurt his finger. If you recall, he hurt his finger, and it affected his outside shooting. So he only took like 133s that year total, and he drove to the basket at age 35. He drove more that year than he had in 10 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, since at least 1991 or 90. And he really taxed his body. If it wasn't a mid-range jumper, he was scoring in the post, or he was driving, slashing to the basket. And because the spacing wasn't like how it is now, you know, because of the slowdown in the pace and fatigue and age had caught up with Mike because he was playing on both sides of the floor. His field goal percentage wasn't that great, 46.5%. But other than that, he earned that MVP that year, and they wound up winning the championship largely because of just Michael Jordan. I mean, Scottie Pippen was just a decoy for the most part in Game 7, right? So, yeah, man, the guy's the greatest player of all time, and I don't care about any of these fucking narratives out here with LeBron and all that shit, man. A lot of us know what our eyes have seen. So, tell me what you guys think.